everybody, and welcome to my first video of Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, and my first video in quite a while, which I will have something in the description. I'll do a little write-up if you're wondering why that is. It's the same story as that I've told before though, so I don't want to keep up a bunch of time in this video going over that, but if you are interested, I will do a write-up in the description. But let's go ahead and get into my build. So this build is my current most fun build that I am having in PvP, and that is using Bottom Tree Night Stalker and the Khepri Sting exotic. So Bottom Tree Night Stalker came with a couple of changes coming into Shadowkeep. One of them affects both Top Tree and Bottom Tree Night Stalker, and that is that your Mobius quiver, your little arrow of void magic that you shoot at people, is now a one-shot kill in the Crucible. So if you are a god, and much better than I am, you potentially can get 6 kills with Bottom Tree Night Stalker. I've not been able to do that, and I will go into detail as to how I use that super, because I think this super is a major bait if you let it bait you, which it does bait me a lot, but I've definitely got better at using this specific super and using it to help me instead of harming me. And the other change that happened with Bottom Tree Night Stalker is that your smoke bomb that makes you and your allies invisible now actually gives you Heart of the Pack buffs. Now this buff is going to increase your resilience, your mobility, your recovery, and it's gonna give you weapon haste. And weapon haste is anything to do with a weapon doing something faster. So ADSing faster, reloading faster, switching weapons faster, anything that you can think of that makes a weapon do something faster, that is weapon haste. And this buff goes up to ×3. So 1, 2, 3. And of course, when you get ×3, you're gonna have larger, more noticeable effects than if you just had ×1. So this was another thing that I looked at and I was like, huh, well, I probably can't keep up ×3 in the Crucible forever. That seems very difficult. Although, if you use Monte Carlo, you might be able to, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But having more resilience and recovery and all of that stuff is never going to be a bad thing. Plus, I'll be invisible, which, you know, invisibility confuses some people. Invisibility could sometimes be cool. So I figured I would try it in the Crucible. I knew that it was very good in PvE. Bottom Tree Night Stalker is incredibly good in PvE, both as a support type subclass and as a damaging subclass. So I was thinking about what to pair this Bottom Tree Night Stalker with in PvP to really take advantage of this build. And I decided I should take a look at Khepri Sting, because Khepri Sting is an exotic that when it first came out, I tried it and I was like, I don't get it. I don't get how I'm supposed to use this thing to do any good for me. So I shelved it. I used it, I think, twice. And then I put it on the shelf. And I've now taken it off of the shelf. And it is my favorite exotic to use at the moment. So before I go into how I use this build and weapons I like to use with the build, let's just go and take a look at my specific way of running this build. Some of these things are not super important for you to copy exactly in order to get the similar type of feel for the build, but then other things I think are kind of important. So here is what my class looks like. I am using Bottom Tree Night Stalker, the recently buffed and pretty freaking fun Night Stalker. So you have Vanish in Smoke, throw a smoke bomb from a distance, making you and nearby allies invisible and providing the Heart of the Pack buff. Lockdown, grenade effects last twice as long. Mobius quiver, fires Shadow Shot multiple times in rapid succession. Shadow Shot deals massive damage against tethered enemies. Defeating tethered enemies creates orbs of light and grants nearby allies the Heart of the Pack buff. Combat Provision, damaging enemies with grenades grants melee ability energy. Making allies invisible grants grenade energy. So that's the general feel of this class. You are kind of aiming to have your melee up and your grenade up pretty frequently. It's kind of hard in PvP to keep it up permanently, but you can have it up pretty freaking frequently, which is awesome with Oppressive Darkness, which I will go into in a second. Now, I personally use Spike Grenade. Honestly, you can use whatever grenade you want. If you're looking at PvP, I would recommend Spike Grenade or Void Wall Grenade. Spike grenade is great because you can just throw it at a surface, and with the lockdown feature of the bottom tree Night Stalker, this lasts for so long. It lasts so long that people are not used to seeing it last as long as it does. So a lot of the time people will see that your grenade is there and they'll avoid it, and then they'll randomly end up walking into it. And because of the damage that you get with Oppressive Darkness, which again I'll go into in a second, you will probably kill anyone that just happens to walk into your grenade. Now, next thing I'm using is Gambler's Dodge. I definitely highly recommend you use Gambler's Dodge and not Marksman's Dodge. And that's because, of course, when you dodge near an enemy, it will recharge your melee ability. And what you want to be doing with this build is having your invisible smoke grenade up as much as humanly possible in order to get the best benefits from the build. Now, the jump, you can do whatever the hell jump you're comfortable with. I like strafe jump. It just gives me a bit more control over my jump, so I can kind of jump backwards or jump forward or to the side wherever I need to. It's just the jump that feels the best to me. Now, the big part of all of this freaking build is Khepri's Sting. The exotic that when I found out that it was coming back, I was kind of excited. I was like, oh, maybe I can do some interesting stuff with that. And then quickly realized that it was completely useless for me and I hated it and had no reason to use it whatsoever. But with Bottom Tree Night Stalker, it actually puts Khepri Sting back in the picture once again. So what does Khepri Sting do? It has a perk called Touch of Venom. Punching someone with full melee energy will instantly cast Smoke Bomb, gain True Sight while in your own Smoke Bomb effect. So if you do punch someone and you get that melee kill and you punch them and you get the invisibility, it's actually kind of nice because immediately as soon as you get that melee kill, you can see exactly where all the enemies are around you, which is really, really, really cool. But the thing that I just care about the most is just this part right here. Gain True Sight while in your Smoke Bomb effect. So that doesn't mean that you have to throw your smoke bomb and stand in it. You can actually move away. So you throw it on yourself, you wait maybe half a second, and then all of the enemies will be... You get wall hacks. You get wall hacks to see all of the enemies. So this is why I'm saying you want to keep up your melee charge as much as possible, because you can just throw down the smoke as much as you freaking want, and you will be able to get the effects of this True Sight. Now, a little note that I do want to make that is definitely not super important for this build, but it is very, very nice to have, is there is a mod in your artifact on the very final row called Oppressive Darkness. And what this mod does is it weakens your enemies. So of course people see this and they're like, oh my god, in PvE that is amazing, because even if you're a class that doesn't have a weaken ability, everyone can have a weaken ability if they're running a void grenade. But it's actually really freaking good in PvP and very funny. It's very, very, very funny. It's great because what it will do now, so I use spike grenade, so I can't really say for the other grenades, but with spike grenade, if someone is in your grenade, it ticks for 33 damage. Every time it hits them with that damage of your grenade, it hits for 33. Plus, if they're coming out of the grenade, they're weakened, so they're going to take more damage from all incoming sources of damage. So if they do just hit your grenade for a second, come out of it, and you shoot them, you're probably going to kill them because they're weakened and they take more damage. So this is definitely not a priority. You don't have to have this unlocked for it to work. It's just really nice to have a spike grenade that lasts a ridiculous amount of time because of the Bottom Tree Night Stalker perk, and a grenade that does a crap ton of damage. I've killed so many people with just the grenade. They never expect it. They don't expect the 33 ticks. They don't expect it. So some things that I think are just integral for this build to work really well, I think you want to have as high strength as you can possibly get. I'm personally now looking for armor with really high strength stat rolls. I don't really have my perfect armor yet, which of course not. If I did, it would kind of suck because I would have nothing else to chase. But I'm looking for stuff with really high strength stat rolls, and then I'm slapping a strength mod in there. I basically try and fit a strength mod in wherever I can and get as high of a strength stat as I possibly can. So I think that is pretty important for you to do, just so you can have your melee up as much as possible, so you can use your smoke grenade and get those sweet wall hacks. Another thing that's really important is just running Gambler's Dodge. I think that's just a given. It helps you get your melee back more often. Everything else, though, is kind of up to you. It doesn't matter what weapon you use. This build both works as an aggressive build or as a sniping build. I really like it as a sniping build. I really like it because, of course, a lot of Night Stalkers or Hunter mains who like to snipe tend to use the middle tree Night Stalker because when you get a headshot while crouching, it gives you wall hacks. But of course, you have to actually get a headshot while crouching to get those wall hacks. Whereas I can open up the game and go to a heavily sniper lane, throw down my smoke, and instantly know how many people are there, how many people are scoping with snipers, how many people are scoping with a scout rifle, and I can choose how I want to go about that engagement. And that's what this build is all about. It's not necessarily giving you wall hacks so you can instantly know when that person comes around the corner, although that will happen very frequently. It's just all about giving you more information than the enemy has on you, and allowing you to take that information and make good use out of it. So yes, you can see when little Timmy's about to come around the corner and you can snipe his head off, but you can also see how many people are back there, how many people have snipers, how many people are actually looking in my direction, and how many people are looking somewhere else. There's been a lot of times where I've been able to pick up kills in a situation where I probably wouldn't have gone in there, or I would have chosen the wrong time to rush the enemy, because I'm like, oh, there's 4 people over there, but 2 of them are heading towards the left. One of them's looking towards the middle. There's only one that's actually looking in my direction. So now I know who I need to prioritize. Now I know if I can actually take on this engagement. So I found myself staying alive more, picking up more kills, being able to pull off more sweet plays because I have more information. Plus, when you are throwing down your smoke grenades, you get your grenade energy back. So you throw smoke down, and depending on how many people you hit with your smoke will dictate how much grenade energy you get back. So if you do manage to hit your teammates, I definitely don't prioritize hitting my teammates with smoke, but if someone's around and I want to get the wall hacks up, I'll throw down my smoke and I will get my grenade back. And again, it just all kind of works together in this circle of wall hacks, invisibility, get your grenade up, gives you a way for you to lock down the area so you can control your engagements more, because you can throw a grenade in one area that stops people coming from there, but then you can see the wall hacks, you can see the guy over there coming over here. It's just really fun, and I like it a lot. Also, side note, which is pretty neato, and I didn't know about this until today, which is just shows you how much I used Khepri Sting. Where you get your wall hacks if another bottom tree Night Stalker throws their smoke bomb on you. So I was standing next to my teammate, he threw down his invisibility smoke bomb, and I got wall hacks. It was pretty sweet. So if you do happen to have another Night Stalker on your team, or you can decide to be super toxic and go into the Crucible with your buddies and just throw smoke on each other all the time, you can give each other wall hacks. As long as they're wearing Khepri Sting. Of course, you have to be wearing Khepri Sting to get the wall hacks. So yeah, that's basically how I use it. And I've used it with, like I said, with a shotgun, with a sniper, with a hand cannon, with a pulse rifle. It really works with anything and can complement any playstyle pretty well. So I recommend it for whatever type of player you are. Just give it a try. See what you think about it. Now, I do want to make a note on the super really quick, because the super is definitely a giant debate. The super is like, hey, you have 6 shots of me. Fire me over and over again. And that's how I initially was using the super, until I realized that being in the air for that long, which I already knew, but you know, I knew, but I didn't know. Being in the air for that long will get you just completely slaughtered. Because the super is pretty hard to aim, especially if you're on a controller, which I am. And if you don't hit them and kill them and you have all these people shooting at you, you're gonna go down pretty quickly. So what I tend to do is maybe I'll only use 2 or 3 shots of that super, because I'll go in the air, I'll fire my first shot. If it doesn't hit and it looks like I can get another shot out, then I will. But a lot of the time I use my super, I come down, I do a dodge, I run around, and then I shoot it again. So I'm mostly using it as the element of surprise. A lot of people are not used to having bottom tree Night Stalkers in the Crucible right now. They're used to only one tether coming out. So it's quite a surprise when you have another one to shoot at people. And even if you don't hit them directly and there's a bunch of people in one area, you can just shoot around them and create mass chaos. So don't get debated and think, oh, I have my super, I'm gonna shoot off all these shots, it's gonna be super cool. If you can only get off even just one shot, if you can only shoot one to keep yourself alive and you've locked that person down, that is totally fine. You're mostly using this build for the wall hacks, for the invisibility, for your grenade being up all the time. The super is just a thing that you can use if you want to shut down another super, or if it's not going to kill you to get it off. So I think that is pretty much it for this video. This is my current build. If you see me in the Crucible, this is probably what I'm going to be running now. I really like it. It's been really fun. I found that Khepri Sting's definitely the exotic that I think makes the most sense for running this build. Just why not? If you're throwing your smoke down all the time anyway, you might as well get wall hacks. You just might as well. So let me know in the comments section if you have tried this build already. Maybe you are a Night Stalker main and you were like, huh, Khepri Sting, I'm gonna try that. And let me know in the comment section what new build have you been running in PvP that you found pretty fun, that you weren't using before, that you didn't pay much attention to before Shadowkeep. Thank you guys so much for watching. You're all freaking awesome, and I'll speak to you awesome people later. Bye.